welcome and thank you very much for being with us today for this new session of our Fit for Germany webinar series that is organized by AHK Morocco. Today's focus is a sector that plays a major role in German-Moroccan economic cooperation, the automotive industry. So before we begin, let me just say a few words about AHK Morocco and why today's topic matters so much. So AHK Morocco has been supporting German-Moroccan economic relations for almost 30 years now. We have a network of more than 900 member companies, and we act as a bridge between the two markets, so helping German companies explore opportunities in Morocco and supporting Moroccan companies as they grow and enter the German market. And the automotive industry is one of the sectors where this cooperation is particularly strong. So, for example, I mean, in recent years, Morocco has become the leading automotive production hub in Africa, and the country is now moving rapidly towards sustainable mobility and battery production. And at HK Morocco, we follow these developments very closely. There is a specific sector-specific program that is called in German Branchenexperte, and that is implemented with the support of the German Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy, and also with the Wirtschaftsnetzwerk Afrika and the Germany Trade and Invest. And with this program, we have a colleague here at AHK Morocco, whose name is Habib Bouhi, and he serves as our focal point for the automotive sector. So he supports German companies by identifying concrete business opportunities in Morocco and guiding them through the local ecosystem. And in addition to this ongoing work, we are also supporting the joint project for the automotive industry in Morocco, in German called Verbundprojekt. And that's an initiative implemented by the Commit project partners in cooperation with AHK Morocco and with the German Association of the Automotive Industry. And this project targets German companies from the automotive industry. And we are, for example, now planning a business delegation to Morocco for the beginning of next year. So all of this brings us perfectly to today's topic. So we are very pleased to be joined by two distinguished experts from Germany who will walk us through the latest trends in the automotive market and explore cooperation opportunities for Moroccan suppliers. So thank you very much, Marius Ochel, for being with us. Marius Ochel from the German Association of the Automotive Industry, VDA, where he acts as head of Cluster International Association Partnerships for Africa and India. And Stefan Bitonto from the Germany Trade and Invest, GTAI, where he acts as a deputy director, mechanical and electronic technologies. So before we start, just a quick reminder, you can use the Q&A box at any moment to submit your questions and we will address them at the end. And this session is being recorded and the replay will be shared with the participants afterwards. So now let's begin. Marius, the floor is yours. You can share your screen for your presentation. I will let you know as soon as we know, as we see, sorry, the presentation. Yes. Full screen.
Can you see it? I will then start.
Yeah, if you just put it in full screen and then it's okay.
It should work, right?
Yes, perfect. Yes.
Yeah, very good. Cool. Thank you very much. So I'm happy to be the speaker today of the webinar session of the AHK Morocco. And actually, as Marian already said, my name is Marius Ochel, working for the VDA, German Association of the Automotive Industry, and the international team. And first of all, I want to say that we have a very close cooperation with the AHK Morocco team. And thank you very much for the last years for the very, very close cooperation, be it at some delegation trips we did to Morocco, be it at our IAA India, where we just had an exchange some weeks ago, and actually through all the other programs. I know there's a Moroccan minister coming this year still to Germany, and yeah, I think the ties are very close between Germany and Morocco, and we are very much committed to further deepen these ties. I have the pleasure to speak to you roughly 15 minutes now about the German automotive industry, especially also the VDA as an association to connect to. And I would also like to inform you on our cooperation with the African continent. So with no further ado, the VDA, it's a small introduction to our association. We call each other, or we call ourselves that we have a strong network and that we are a strong voice. Our association was already founded in 1901 in Eisenach, which is somehow also like a foundation location of the car. So our association was founded even closely after the invention of the car. We have a female president, which is Hildegard Müller, and we represent 620 plus member companies from the whole value chain. This equals roughly 780,000 people in the primary workforce in the automotive industry in Germany. And we have roughly 180 plus employees in 16 departments. The VDA itself functions as a service provider and networker, is an important stakeholder, and also as the organizer of our IAA. Many of you might already have visited us this year in Munich, where we had a focus on Morocco in one event, and also we are doing like the so-called Mittelstandstag for the German Mittelstand. We're doing an automotive logistics forum and many, many other events throughout the year. And basically, I mean, our main task is also the automotive lobbying or political lobbying, let's say. So we conduct a dialogue within the public, and we are the contact to politicians for all questions relating the automotive industry. So as we said, 620 member companies with roughly 780,000 employees. These are some of our flagship events. Also this one, many of you might also know maybe the VDA QMC, which is the Quality Management Center, where we sell our VDA 6.3, stuff like this norms all over the world. Actually important, the VDA represents the entire automotive value chain. So it's not only OEMs or suppliers, it's both. Actually, we represent three member groups, which is a total of 22 member companies in member group one, which is the OEMs like BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and so on. Then we have the manufacturers group two, which is trailer, bodies, and buses. And by the numbers, the biggest manufacturer group, it's three, which is all the suppliers. And actually, this one comes from the very big ones, Bosch, Continental, and so on, to also very small and medium enterprises, which are very often still family owned and somehow the so-called backbone of the German Mittelstand. To give you a small update on the location of our members in Germany, and also this shows you very good where the automotive industry in Germany is located. So we as VDA, we are here in Berlin, which is in the northeast, and there's not that much automotive industry, so only 15 members. But the main clusters for the automotive industry are in the west, like North Rhine-Westphalia with 150 locations, Baden-Württemberg around the Stuttgart area, Bavaria with Munich and Ingolstadt. Then we have Hessen and Lower Saxony, where also the Volkswagen sits. So basically, you can see very much that it's still focused on the south and southwest, but also with some clusters in the east, for example. Exactly. So this is main our members here. You may see basically every big automotive company is a member of VDA, and actually to become a member of VDA, you need to have a production in Germany and an automotive relation. So this entitles you then to become member of VDA. So yeah, that's our membership structure. And actually, yeah, we have for sure, we have members, then we have a managing board, the presiding board, and then we have three kind of various departments who are working on the various fields of our industry. Now, I just would like to give you some like 5 minutes an update about current market situation in Germany, Europe, and the world. which also underlines through some numbers how our situation right now is. I mean, here in the first slide, you see the passenger car production worldwide, but this is the passenger car production worldwide by German OEMs. And what I want to show with you, most important in the slide, is that in black, you see the production in foreign countries, and in green, you see the domestic production, so meaning in Germany. And when you compare it now, when you see it from 2009, for example, it was even equal. So we produced roughly a little bit more cars in Germany than in foreign countries. But when you see it even until 2019 before COVID, but also further after, you see that the partition of the domestic of the foreign production is higher. And actually, right now, 9.5 million cars are being produced abroad, while only 4.1 million cars are produced in Germany. And right now, China, Czechia, Republic, Spain, and the United States are the largest foreign production locations for German OEMs. What does it show us? That actually the value chains become more and more international, and that especially free trade agreements are more and more important, not only between Europe and other regions, also between intra-regions, let's say. Let's say, for example, here we have listed it like the USMCA, the Mercosur area, where we really hope that the free trade agreement between Europe and Mercosur is coming through this year. So this shows us how important it is. Exactly. So then we go to the next slide. Passenger car production in Germany, it's still around 4 million vehicles. And also the forecast for 25-26 is roughly in this area. But what I want to show with this slide is that you see in the middle and on the right how the relation between the internal combustion engine and the electric cars have changed. So we see, for example, in 2025, a decrease by 10% in the production of the internal combustion engine. And we see a pretty good ramp up, plus 37%, in the production of electric cars. And also when you see this historically from the last couple of years, for sure you can see a very clear trend between the internal combustion engine and the production of electric cars. So this shows it as well. So the production of electric cars continues to grow, and the share of electric vehicles in total production in Germany could rise to 41% in 2025. Compared to 2024, we had 34%. So you see that it's, besides maybe some people in the media, they sometimes say that Germany is not that successful and not transforming that quick, but the transformation is already on and also quite successful. You see here the plug-in hybrid in black and the battery electric car in green. We have had our own column for the fuel cell, but as you can't see it here in the above, you may also see that there is not that much, not that much fuel cell production in Germany. Where do we export? Basically, our top 18 export partners you can see here. And that's quite interesting because for sure you can see USA, United Kingdom, then a lot of European countries, Italy, France, Spain. We see South Korea, China, Japan, Austria, and so on. And maybe China, you are like this part 9. It's only because actually we produce our members that much in China that there is not that much export from here. And now with the US, it's going to be interesting how it's developing. As we had this roughly tariff-free exit with only 2.5 tariffs the last years, 2.5% tariffs the last years, which has now been changed. Let's see how the consequences of this change in the tariffs are. Overall, the world market is somehow up to the pre-COVID level again. It's roughly 80 million cars per year with a slight positive outlook for 2026. And then you see the main international passenger car markets, which is China, roughly 22 million cars, or 23, USA with around 50 million, and Europe with around 13 million. Just to show you something on the electric mobility, as also this is the topic of our webinar today. Europe already has an above average share of electric vehicles, the highest shares in China, but I would say that also Europe is doing quite well. Maybe for the US, quite interesting. They have like a share of roughly 10%, but this is very much focused on California. So the main driver of the electrification of USA is basically one state. And then we see the global market shares of German OEMs, Actually, we see here in green the market share German OEMs in the electric market, and then in black the total market share. So what I want just to show you is that actually you see that our market share in the electric market, it's already higher than into the, let's say, normal combustion engine market in the most of the countries. For sure, China, we see that the German automotive industry is still stronger in the internal combustion engine as well as in Japan. So, this was it with the numbers. I could show you some, like for 1, 2 hours, I could show you some more numbers, but actually not to bore you. You can also contact VDA for any more numbers or check on our webpage. We have our annual report. We have a lot of numbers on the automotive industry. I just wanted to update you on a cooperation, which we do, especially on Africa. VDA works very closely with AAAM. It's the African Association of Automotive Manufacturers. And with them, we are having like a Pan-African cooperation project to support the automotive industry and the development over the whole continent. Basically, you see here the members of AAAM, which is roughly 70 companies and institutions from the whole African continent who work together on industrializing the continent for the automotive industry. The goal at the end is to have a Pan-African Auto Pact to increase the vehicle market from roughly right now 1.1 million cars to 3.5 to 5 million cars by 2035. Important for this is actually that the AFCFTA is working and that there is roughly duty-free access and tariff-free access amongst the African markets. What do we work with AAAM? We support our members. We cooperate with government and stakeholders in Africa and Europe. We cooperate with associations in Africa and Europe. We have a memorandum of understanding between European and African automotive associations. We are always doing events at the IAA, for example, or the Intra-African Trade Fair. And for us, main driver is to basically support the implementation of automotive policies in countries where there are no automotive policies yet. Coming to the next slide. So cooperation with Morocco is very strong, especially with the AHK. As due to our current figures, we have VDA members have more than 21 production facilities in Morocco. We are active member of the Wirtschaftsnetzwerk Afrika, and we support the BMWE Verbundprojekt Morocco, which also Marion mentioned in the beginning. We did already some roundtables with the chamber, and we also had various study tours and had a VDA and AAAM booth at the automotive meetings in Tangier, which was organized by Amica. How can you get in contact with VDA? You can check our website. We have a portal for automotive collaboration where you can put your input in and see how to find partners for partnering with German suppliers and OEMs. And most important, I would say, please visit us at our IAA. The next edition is the IAA Transportation in Hanover, focusing on commercial vehicles and logistics. And so this is next year from 15th to 20th September. There's always the possibility to exhibit and to book stands. And if you're interested, please just reach out to me. So with this, I would close after roughly 15 minutes, and I am available for any Q&A, or you can also send me an email afterwards. So Marion, I would say,
Perfect.
if
Yes,
you can
thank you
still
very
hear me,
much.
back to you, and I stop the sharing. Or is it stopped already? No, it's not.
No, not yet.
No.
So perfect. Thank you very much, Marius, for this presentation of the German Automotive Industry Association. That was very insightful. So I will now hand over to Stefan Di Bitonto from the Germany Trade and Invest. You can share your screen. I will let you know as soon as we see the presentation, and then you can start, Stefan.
Are you able to see it?
Not yet.
Can you see it?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Hold on. Give me a second.
Yes. Okay, something's happening.
How about
All
this?
right. Yes, now it's working. Perfect. Yes.
We're on air. Okay. Welcome everybody, and thank you, AHK Morocco, for having us. Germany Trade and Invest. I will say a couple of words about Germany Trade and Invest after this presentation, but I'm first of all going to give you an insight of opportunities for the Moroccan automotive suppliers in Germany. So we're going to go ahead and I'll start with attractive investment destination. So we see that Germany offers a robust, we saw all the numbers from Marius that he impressively showed what is happening here. So we see a robust automotive market and infrastructure, making it ideal for Moroccan suppliers to invest and to expand into this country. Also, we have, or I'll go into emerging market trends, such as e-mobility, autonomous driving. These are the shapers of the automotive sector, offering new opportunities for suppliers. Last but not least, I will get into the support that we offer: legal, tax, financing, and location assistance services that are available to support Moroccan suppliers entering the German market. So here, I will go ahead and give you a short overview. We just saw it, but to give you a comparison to other industries in Germany, major industries in Germany, we see mechanical industry, the chemical and the food industry, that are more or less the same when it comes to revenue, and the outstanding one is the automotive industry, which is about double the size of the mechanical, chemical, or even more than double of the size chemical and food industry. So it's a very impressive industry. Germany and the wealth of Germany is very dependent on this industry. So electrification, we've heard what's going on, about 2.7 electric vehicles on German roads at this point. Charging infrastructure is improving, although there is still room for improvement. The battery production capacity was set to be to 127 gigawatt hours. We've seen, we've had a little bit of a bumpy ride the last couple of months and years, considering e-mobility and also the battery technology. However, project-wise, we've been seeing a strong comeback right now. We have higher requests in this area. The number of e-models, Marius impressively showed how these e-models are being delivered. We can't be speaking from a chicken or an egg problem any longer. The industry is delivering. What is lagging behind at this point is infrastructure. So infrastructure is a very crucial investment point. We're also focusing on automated driving technology, which is another a crucial part of the automotive industry. This is a short model that I just want to give you an example on how transportation has changed and will change over the next couple of years. So we see that the axes show a human-driven or an autonomous vehicle and an asset-owned to an asset-share vehicle. So traditionally, people always used to drive their cars by themselves and they owned them by themselves. So for the longest time, for over 100 years, we haven't seen any revolutionary development. We've seen the same propulsion system, and the industry has been doing that for more than 140 years. It's very successfully. Now, with the beginning of these devices, the smartphones, things have changed. We've been more connected ever since, and we see that shared mobility, mobility on demand through apps is possible. So just to give you a few examples, in Germany, Share Now or Miles are sharing companies where you have free floating cars running around cities that you can just open up with your phone and start driving. It's not your car. You're not paying anything for it. No taxes, no insurance, no gasoline. You don't have to do anything. However, you pay per minute or you pay per mile or kilometer. So we've seen a change from still human driven. However, it's an asset shared tangible good has become. And if we go on the other side where we see Tesla, Bosch, Continental, we see an owned autonomy. So we see more an asset owned vehicle. However, it becomes more autonomous through sensors, algorithms, mechatronics. So we see a strong focus on automated driving technology, which, is further and further more developing nowadays. And we see that self-driving vehicles, if you go to the United States, if you go to China, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Arizona, wherever you go, you can just sit in a Waymo car. You just book it through an app, and then you have all of a sudden you have an asset shared and also an autonomous vehicle. So we see that we're blending or moving into a sort of an utopia era, I'd like to call it. So we see autonomous pods maybe in the future, on-demand public transport, and build by driven distance or time. So this is just to show you that this slide is from 2016. It's always been kind of updated, but this is kind of showing you how the transformation through digitalization is actually changing the automotive industry. I think this is a quite interesting slide. And how's Germany dealing with all that? So we see cost-efficient and sustainable partnerships. OEMs, tier one suppliers seek sustainable, cost-effective partners. This is a short landscape of showing you where suppliers and OEMs are. That's Marius just showed you a more detailed slide of that, but it is still concentrated in the southern part or the western part of Germany. However, Saxony, Brandenburg are catching up, and automotive suppliers and also OEMs are engaging in that area too. So we see a robust R&D infrastructure and skilled workforce. More than a third of all R&D expenditure stems from the automotive industry, which is a large amount. So German OEMs will be investing will be investing over 220 billion euros from 22 to 26 into e-mobility and digitalization research and development. So that makes it more than 40 billion euros a year, which is a very strong commitment to research and development. And this is how German automakers are getting fit for the future. And around 160,000 highly skilled engineers work on automotive-related R&D topics in Germany. And we see this leads to, what I've just shown you, to an industry that is ever-changing and transforming into a different industry since we've known it for the longest time. So what are strategic advantages for Moroccan investors coming to Germany? The key benefits, actually, as I like to point out, are nearshoring advantages. So nearshoring meaning, reducing lead times to improve delivery speed for Moroccan suppliers compared to Asian markets. So it's very close markets. Then we have a duty-free trade benefit. The EU-Morocco trade agreement enables duty-free access, lowering costs and simplifying Moroccan exports to Germany. So this is a huge advantage. And we also see a competitive production quality, which Moroccan's production structure ensures high quality output, competitive prices that they benefit from. Main example has always been the harness production for vehicles that is traditionally being done in Morocco. Opportunity segments, I've just said, high potential areas for investments could be the electric vehicle components. We see a high growth in batteries and wiring harness, support Germany's shift to electric vehicles. Sustainable materials, obviously through the batteries and digitalization, these cars are getting heavier. So lightweight materials, green plastics, eco-friendly vehicle production, everything that reduces emissions is actually welcome and needed. But also a high focus lies on automotive driving technologies. So Germany is a global leader in autonomous driving legislation and research and development up to level 4. Self-driving. OEM and tier 1 suppliers are investing billions in ADAS sensors, connectivity, and AI software. And I am most likely quite sure that no one in this webinar would disagree on this trend that is happening at this pace. This is a short example that I'd like to show you just to make it clear how much this digitalization could be a game changer for the automotive industry. Now, why miles matter, or you can call it kilometers matter. Traditional business model, we see 80 million vehicles were roughly produced back then when I made this slide. Today is less than that. Times, let's say an average price of $20,000 a car would equal up to 1.6 trillion US dollars. That would make up roughly 2% of global GDP. Now, in Silicon Valley, people thought of it differently. He said, okay, let's just take a look at the vehicles that are existing over the world, which is roughly 1 billion existing vehicles, just to make it easier. And let's say each vehicle drives around 10,000 miles per year. Could be more, could be less. And let's say we'd be able to charge $1 per mile. That would make up a revenue of 10 trillion US dollars, which is roughly 10% of global GDP. So we see a different mindset towards the industry could change the outcome dramatically. So what I really want you to take with you when you think of Germany Trade and Invest, my name, and the automotive industry in Germany is that the automotive industry will change more in the next 20 years than it has in the previous 135 years. So, as I've mentioned at the beginning, I would like to give you an insight on financing and incentives, just briefly. What would be available? There's more than that, but this is just something that you can grasp in this short period of time more easily. Enterprises benefiting from attractive grant levels for setting up new facilities. This is for capital expenditure, meaning if you set up a production in sort of a way, it has to be a production, has to have some value chain, added value chain in Germany. And we see that the rule of thumb that I can give you is the further north and the more east you are, the higher the incentive level will become. The highest border areas, border regions, C region is the one all the way on top. For a small size company, which is a company that has a headcount up to 50 people, would be eligible for 45% of the capital expenditure. So this is quite impressive. Just to give you a short, note about this, incentives are available depending on what you do. There's also incentives available for research and development. If you need information on that, please don't hesitate. Get back to me and I will make sure to get that information to you. Tax and legal. This is also something that we as a business consultant company from the government can offer. We navigate business establishment in Germany. We're dedicated investor support service, and what we do is we help with the business establishment process with our 16 partners, corporate taxation, entry and residence, employees, and Social Security. All of this free of charge, highly confidential, if needed, also with an NDA. This is possible because we are funded by the Ministry of Economics and Energy. We're paid by the German taxpayers with the goal to identify international companies that have a business model, a sustainable business model, to employ German people at the end. who we are and what we do. This is what I've promised you. Who is Germany Trade and Invest? We're the International Business Promotion Agency of the Federal Republic of Germany. More or less, this is who we are. Up to 400, I think we're more or less 400 people that work for this agency. These are our 4 mandates. I would just like to focus on the investor consulting one. This is helping international companies to set up a shop, to set up a physical presence in Germany, as I've just mentioned to you, through location identification, through tax and legal information, financing, and incentives information. If you need any help with that, I will be more than glad to help you. Reach out to me. This is what I've said, market and industry analysis. Reach out to me. These are my contact details. If you'd like, you can just take a picture. Marion is able to forward you my presentation. I'm willing to share that with you. With this, I would like to end my presentation and would like to thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan Bitonto. That was extremely insightful. Thank you also again to Marius. So we will now open the floor for questions. So feel free to type your questions in the Q&A box, and I will address them to our speakers directly. I will just check if there are already questions. I have maybe just a little question for Stefan, because you mentioned that the auto industry will change more in the next 20 years than it has in the last more than 100 years.
135, yeah.
Yes. So which future competencies will become critical for suppliers aiming to remain relevant in Germany? If there is a summary like of the competences.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think you need. I need to be. I think you need to stay. I don't really think that the size is going to matter that much of the company. I think you need to stay quick and nimble. You need to be. You need to be. You have to be able to adapt continuously to the changes that are happening. They're happening more frequently. They're happening faster, and you have to be able to respond to these changes faster. So I think it's the faster one is the one that's going to be prevailing in this transition. It's not the biggest one that is going to prevail. So the companies, the leaders of these companies that understand the change of times, that know how to implement these into their processes, into their products, will have better opportunities throughout the years. I'm quite sure about that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So yeah, feel free for the participants just to put your questions if you have any questions. I mean, of course, we had a lot of very good information now today, and like we said, I will send you the presentation per email also afterwards, and you can also always reach out to us, to our experts, the Germany Trend and Invest, the VDA, and also AHK Morocco. So don't hesitate. I know it's about lunchtime. That might
Exactly.
also be the reason. So yes, I think we can close this session if there is no question. I think you gave us a clear picture of the opportunities available for Moroccan suppliers in the German automotive industry. Thank you again for joining us, and we look forward also for the upcoming Fit for Germany sessions, because there are going to be more. Wait. The questions are coming. Okay. If you have just a few minutes. Okay, so we have one question. What do you think about the charger stations in Morocco? Okay, so this is a Morocco-related question.
Who's being asked? Well, what is the question again?
The question is, what do you think about the charger stations in Morocco?
In Morocco, okay.
Yes, in Morocco.
Well, I maybe I'll answer. I don't really know. I unfortunately haven't been to Morocco. I'd like to come to Morocco. I know
You're
that in many
welcome.
I know that in many parts of the world's infrastructure is lagging behind. I don't know about Morocco. I know that even in Germany, you know, a lot has happened over the last couple of years when it comes to infrastructure, but I still think, you know, it's not the way it should be. This is my personal opinion. You know, if you drive an internal combustion engine, you know exactly where to, you know, gas up. There's no problem. You know, there's a gas station. You can see them all over, and you just, you know, just go there and fill up your car, and you're fine. Um, Electric vehicles has become much more convenient, much better. However, we see, and this is speaking for Germany, we see you know, like a tariff jungle. You don't know who you're charging with and what's, you know, what provider you're going to use, um, where to find, you know, the charging stations, what kind of charging station is that, how does the software work. So there's you know, the standard is kind of missing. So the gut feeling is holding you behind and saying, okay, well, you know, it's still not that clear when it comes to charging. I think that's exactly where improvement is needed. Improvement is needed in expanding the charging station system, the infrastructure, but also the use. The use has to become more convenient for the customer. And maybe
Definitely.
that's the same for Morocco, but I don't know.
No, it has to become like this in the future. Thank you very much. We have another question
I
in
think.
terms. Yes, Marius, if you want to
Yes,
add something.
just a short one. Yeah, thanks to Stefan for answering this. And even though I just Googled that, actually, I think Morocco should have, as far as it's written here, roughly 300 public charging points. But actually, for us, it's always quite important to see the ratio EV per charger. So cars per publicly accessible charging point. This is in Morocco, 10 EVs per public charger. Because I think you still have that just a few EVs. In Germany, it's 17 EVs per publicly accessible charging points. So there we see that probably Morocco is even better in this. But for us in VDA, it's always important to keep the charging as internationally harmonized as possible, because only then you will have success, that all your companies can use international standards and actually can increase the accessibility. And I posted here something maybe quite interesting in the chat. In VDA, we have developed the so-called e-charging network ranking, where we combine every kind of small city in Germany, small area, where we have all the publicly accessible charging points, and combine them with the density of EV cars. So we can already even quickly show the politicians, look here, your area is doing quite well or doing quite bad. And so you may have a look on our homepage. That's, yeah, if you need some information on the German charging point side, this you will find there.
Thank you very much, Marius. There is another question related also to electric vehicle. So in terms of technological knowledge required for competitive electric vehicle production, where does Germany stand compared to the current level of Chinese know-how?
Marius, would you
Yeah,
like
it's
to
yeah,
give it a
it's
try?
yes, probably it's not the easiest question to answer, as for sure there is various kind of OEMs and suppliers involved in this. But I can tell you, as probably also my presentation shows, that we are doing quite well in Germany. And I mean, the Chinese companies, they have already, right, like a very strong focus on EVs only. In the production in Germany, many OEMs are still technology neutral or open. But actually, I would say that we are very in a good shape right now. And this also, just to show you some two numbers. I mean, in the next 4 years, between 2025 and 2029, the German automotive industry is investing 320 billion in research and development, especially for electric cars. And additionally, we have 220 billion euros in so-called like production facilities. So actually, if you see these numbers, then this is already like very, very high. And I think with this, Germany is very good in shape to, yeah, to be also leader in the electric vehicle production. Stefan, maybe
Yeah.
you want to add.
Yeah, maybe I can add something to that if we still have a little bit of time. Thank you, Marius, for pointing that out. However, I would like to add that the transformation that we're having right now faces significant uncertainty. This is something that we really have to, well, we have to talk about that because it is something that is happening. And we have a scheduled review of the EU's 2035 combustion engine ban, which will happen in 26. So this is, what the industry needs right now is clarification. And the clarification, without taking any party in any direction, means we need clarification.
Yep.
When I say we, it's the automotive industry. All industries need clarification. Without that, uncertainty is poisonous to this development, to growth development. So this is something that we really have to focus on and embrace and understand that this is something that needs to be tackled and needs to be expressed. And after that happened, there's hopefully more certainty, and then there's more direction. I hope it's kind of clear what I'm saying.
No, 100%. I can confirm this now.
Great. Another question would be if you have maybe noticed through your networks or market signals any German companies or consortium considering or initiating a strategic move towards Morocco to support the transition to mobility infrastructures. If there is something concrete.
I mean, actually, I would say like a very good example is the so-called Verbundprojekt, like this joint project
Yes,
Morocco,
true.
because
Yes.
there's somehow 10 companies just actively seeing to seek like production in Morocco and getting around in the market and see whether they can have a location there for production or not. So I think this is probably the best example. So there is definitely interest, and I can tell you from VDA, I mean, I am basically involved in the Africa business, which we do since now 5 to 6 years. And when we started this cooperation, there was like rather a little bit like, yeah, okay, they speak about Africa and North Africa, and that's maybe interesting, but let's see. But this is now really has changed for the last 1 2 years, because now all the questions we get in VDA regarding the markets and the interest, it's more and more concrete than just 5 years ago. And I mean, Morocco for sure, with your free zones, which actually the super good infrastructure with the connection to the world. This is definitely like a very important location when it comes to diversification and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's see what next year brings us with this project. There is a question for Stefan. In general, do you believe Africa has the potential to become a hub for the automotive industry in the future, considering factors such as low energy prices, labor costs, or other relevant conditions?
Yeah, I think nothing is impossible. I mean, looking at North Africa, for instance, I don't know, I can't speak for whole Africa. I know there's South Africa that has automotive production in northern part of Africa. Definitely, if as I've said, the question that I've had, who will prevail, or how can you prepare for such change? I think if you embrace the change that is happening, if you understand what's going on and you prepare for that, and not just prepare and think about it, but also execute, the steps needed, why not?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. There is a future for Africa. A question about the current automotive sector. Well, we know that it's not facing its best period due to the uncertainty for the e-mobility markets and the strong competition with China, who is leading the EV. What is your opinion? When can we expect to go out of this crisis? What do you think?
You asking me or Marius?
It's
It's
your.
open. Whoever wants to answer.
I mean,
Okay,
oh, yeah, you
I'll just make
start.
the start, and then Marius, you can continue.
Yep, sure.
Just as I said, I just pick up right there where I said we need certainty. We need to know um, what is it? What I kind of like to compare it. I'm that old. I have to say I'm that old. Back then, there was the competition in technologies. Maybe there's some fellas also watching. In end of 70s, beginning of 80s, we had home entertainment. That was a big deal. So it was VHS, Betamax, and Video 2000, video cassette recorders, right? So you could watch a movie at home. So we had three systems. Three systems were running parallel to one another, and Betamax was from Sony. I think that was the best system. However, Prevailed has VHS for some reasons that happened. So it's kind of like today we have hydrogen, electric mobility, we have internal combustion engine, we have synthetic fuels. We have all these technologies running side by side. How can we know which one is the best? Let them participate next to one another. Be open for technology. Embrace this change by being open for technology and see what is it that the customer wants. What is it that will prevail? And I think if we do that, and countries like China are doing that. Countries like the United States are doing that. So why shouldn't we do it?
True. True. Marius, do you have something to add, or we go to the
Yeah,
next
I can
question?
only add for this to this because this is the major important thing. We need to have like political clarity where the markets are leading us, or where also the political decisions are leading us. And then for sure, I mean, we also in Europe and Germany need to have like a right now a little bit more proactive government, as we should have the autumn of reforms here in Germany, which actually did not happen that quickly as maybe they were actually demanded. And the whole system shows us at the end. I mean, I showed you the markets, and that actually also the world car market, it's still back on track or even the same or even growing a little bit. So we see that there is still demand around the world. But actually, what Stefan also said, I mean, this is now really transforming quickly. And this whole German model where we can just say, okay, we have a very high productivity here, we have the best quality standards, and we export them via trade agreements into the whole world. It's actually not the same anymore. It's changing. So we have a higher competition, but this at the end shows us how important it actually for us is to diversify and to have better trade agreements, to have raw material partnerships. I mean, right now, for example, Canada and Australia, they signed a raw material partnership which is like a real partnership where it's clearly stated that these kind of amounts of raw materials we are going to buy from you and so on. Actually, Europe does not have this right now. And same as for us, the free trade agreements, we somehow need to be quicker. We need to be more efficient. I mean, right now it's a big decision in probably 3 weeks whether the EU-Mercosur agreement finally, after more than 20 years of negotiating, is going through, which would be a good thing for the automotive sector. India, we are still negotiating since 15 years. So all of these things we need to be really quicker in Europe. And then at the end, I mean, I showed you the numbers for investments. Actually, I think there's still a very good position for the German automotive industry in the world. But one last sentence. I mean, we also see it right now when it comes to the employment in Germany. For sure, there is consequences right now due to the transformation, which we can already see and which are visible.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, Marius. And maybe one last question before we stop this Q&A session. So, could you share a brief perspective on the future of automotive molding manufacturing in Germany and how the sector can remain competitive, especially in the context of BASF recent ramp down? In addition, how do you plan to address the growing capability gap, particularly the shortage of skilled tool makers and specific technologists? Very specific question.
That's cool.
Very specific question.
Actually, not the expert on molding. Maybe Stefan, you have an idea.
Not really. Maybe I have to say I have to pass on that. I really can't answer that question. I'm sorry.
That's fair, of course. No worries. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, I think that we can stop for now for the Q&A session. And as I said, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much for a big thank you for Marius and for Stefan for sharing the expertise with us today. Thank you for joining us and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Marion. Thank you.
Thank you also. Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much.
Goodbye.